Daily Wire reports Denver Democratic Mayor Mike Johnson said there would be mass public resistance if President-elect Donald Trump implemented a mass deportation effort of illegal immigrants from federal forces, likening it to Tiananmen Square moment. Even said that he would be willing to get arrested to stop it from happening. So we've heard this kind of rhetoric from Democrat mayors and governors in recent days and weeks as they prepare for the mass deportation event that should be coming, that better be coming. Let's listen to this clip of the mayor talking about this.
Trump's new border czar, Tom Homan, has said that he is willing to arrest leaders like yourself for standing in the way of these policies that they want to enact. Would you be willing to go to jail for these things?
Yeah, I'm not afraid of that. And I'm also not seeking that. I think the goal is we want to be able to negotiate with reasonable people how to solve hard problems. Republican and Democratic presidents in the past have all tried to find solutions to these problems. President Reagan helped people get access to work so they could stay and support themselves. Biden and Harris worked on restricting entry at the border to close down. There are a lot of ways to approach this problem. We don't think it has to come to this. But yeah, I think when you look at, Ralph Carr has always been one of my heroes. He was the governor who in the middle of the internment of Japanese Americans said this was the wrong thing to do. And he stood up. It was unpopular. People were mad at him about it. That was in the middle of wartime. If the president or any of his actors are going to do things that we think are illegal or immoral or un-American, we'll stand up against them.
So everything you just heard there is incoherent. Starting with, and this has become the kind of standard Democrat talking point now. They used to say, I'm old enough to remember 6 months ago when the standard Democrat talking point was that all forms of border enforcement are inhumane, unjust, human rights violations, right? Build bridges, not walls, okay? That sort of nonsense. Well, they know that that's a total losing political position now. And so they've tried to moderate to some extent, but they've ended up in a place that makes even less sense because now they say, well, there are other solutions to this problem. We can border enforcement and all that. We should do that, but we shouldn't deport people. Well, but then what kind of message is that? So what you're saying is, so if you allegedly want there to be border enforcement, that means you're trying to prevent people from coming in illegally. But then you're also saying that, hey, we're going to try to prevent you from coming in, but if you make it in anyway, you get to stay. So it's like some kind of game, it's like Red Robin or it's a playground game. It's a fun challenge. But hey, we're going to try to stop you. But if you break through, you get to stay because we can't kick you out. That doesn't make any sense. And also, if it's not inhumane and unjust to stop them from coming, then how is it inhumane and unjust to make them leave if they manage to come? Like if we can prevent them from entering in the door, and that's not a problem, that's not immoral, then how could it be immoral to kick them out if they sneak through the door against our wishes? So that doesn't make any sense at all, of course. He says that deportations is like Japanese internment. Yeah, it's just like Japanese internment camps, except for the fact that it's nothing like that at all. The only similarity is that in both cases, groups of people were being told to go somewhere they don't want to go. Okay, that's the only. There are many examples of that kind of thing in history where you have groups of people being made to go somewhere they don't want to go. There are cases where it was unjust and it was terrible. There are cases where it's not. It really depends on who the people are, where they're being told to go, and why they're being told to go there. Those are questions we need to fill in before. So if you came to me and said, hey, well, they're rounding up a group of people and making them go somewhere, isn't that terrible? I would say it might be. Who are these people and where are they making them go and why? Is it Japanese internment? Okay, are we rounding up random people and are we? Is it did they just pass a law that says that everybody, with a last name that starts with A through F has to be thrown into the ocean? I mean, is it some random thing? In that case, yeah, I'm against it. But the major difference here is that in the case of the illegal immigrants, they are being, will be, hopefully, rounded up and forced to go to their own homes where they lived before they came here illegally. That's what's happening. These are not American citizens who are being rounded up and detained somewhere. These are non-citizens that are being forced to return to their own homes. Or really anywhere else. I mean, you kick them out, they can go to their own homes, they could go anywhere else. I mean, the world's their oyster. They're not being forced to stay there. The entire globe, the entire rest of the globe, you can go anywhere. Go back to your home, go hop a ship, go to Europe if you want. I mean, they'll take in anybody. Go to Antarctica. I mean, you could go anywhere you want. So it's very much the opposite of like throwing people in a camp or something like that. The mayor says that there's no reason why it has to come to this. Well, I can think of a reason. There are tens of millions of illegal immigrants in this country. That's the reason. If it hasn't come to this yet, then when would it come to this, by your estimation? I'd love for somebody to ask that question to these people. Like, let's just take the kind of official corporate media estimate of the illegal alien population. And they say, last I checked, they say it's something like 12 million. It's like 11.5, 12 million. Now, I think that's almost certainly a significant undercount. We also don't know. There's no way to know exactly that they're illegal. They came here. They came here illegally. So we don't know exactly how many of them there are. That's sort of the whole point. And I think 12 million is a massive undercount. But let's just go with that. Let's just go with that for now. Let's go. Let's pretend it's just 12 million people who are here illegally. Well, 12 million is a lot. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot of people. That's enough people where you would say, you could certainly argue. In fact, if you're a rational person, you would argue that, yeah, it's come to this. What's this? Making them leave. 12 million? 12 million is the entire population of Wyoming, Vermont, Alaska, North Dakota, South Dakota, Delaware, Rhode Island, Montana, Maine, New Hampshire, and Hawaii combined. Okay? That's the entire population of 11 U.S. states combined. And that's going with the conservative estimate of the illegal alien population. Now, if that's not a big enough number to necessitate deportations, then when is the number big enough? If 12 million, if we call it 12 million, isn't enough, if it hasn't come to this yet, what do we need? Do we need to have 20 million illegal aliens? Do we need to have 30 million, 50 million, 100 million? At what point would you, as the mayor of Denver, would even you say, okay, yeah, this is a bit much. This is a little bit too much now. If we get to the point where like a third of the U.S. population is illegal aliens, then would you say that, yeah, it might be a bit, it's a little, this is a little overboard at this point. Maybe we might need to thin the herd a bit here. Well, we know the answer actually is never. It'll never be too many for these people because their goal is the destabilization and destruction of our country and our sovereignty. And that's the part that they don't say out loud. At least they don't often say out loud. But here's the good news. Tom Homan, the new border czar, had what I thought was just a spectacular answer to this mayor and his showboating about going to jail. Here's what Homan says.
You heard this mayor out there in Colorado. I want to get your reaction to it. And I want you to be clear about who has jurisdiction, the federal government or state and local governments. And if you're a sanctuary state or city, are you breaking the law?
You're absolutely breaking the law. All you have to do is look at Arizona versus U.S. You'll see these breaking the law. But look, me and the Denver mayor, we agree on one thing. He's willing to go to jail. I'm willing to put him in jail. Because there's a statute, it's Title 8 United States Code 1324 III, and what it says is, it's a felony if you knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from immigration authorities. It's also a felony to impede a federal law enforcement officer. So if we don't want to help, that's fine. He can get the hell out of the way. But we're going to go do the job. President Trump has a mandate for American people. We got to secure this country. We got to save American lives. And I find it shocking that any mayor of a city would say, President Trump's been clear, we want to concentrate on public safety threats and national security threats. I find it hard to believe that any mayor or governor would say they don't want public safety threats removed from their neighborhoods. I mean, I don't know what the hell is going on in Denver, but we're going to go and we're going to fix it. If you don't want to fix it, if you don't want to protect his communities, President Trump and ICE will.
So that's a great. He's willing to go to jail, and I'm willing to put him there. That's a great line. That is a great answer, and that's what we've been missing. You know, you need a guy with exactly this kind of attitude in charge of something like this. Something like if you're going to have a deportation program, you need somebody exactly like this heading it up. Somebody who, you know, his attitude. Usually, what you'll hear is, well, you don't want to make a martyr. You don't want to make martyrs out of these people. The Denver mayor wants to be a martyr, wants to martyr himself by going to jail. Want to make a martyr out of him? No, make a martyr out of him. Martyr in the sense of he wants to go to jail, and then fine, send him. If that's what he wants, he can go to jail. He can make a martyr of himself all he wants. But here's the difference, because you see this with left-wing activists all the time. They're very willing to go to jail. They're very willing to do things that will or should end with them going to jail. They're willing to do things that are against the law, whether that's, you have government officials saying that they're going to defy federal law, harbor fugitive aliens, which is a federal crime, whether it's these eco-terrorists that are blocking highways and dumping paint on works of art in museums, BLM rioters, of course, burning down buildings, all the rest of it. You have these left-wing activists that break the law all the time. They're very willing to do that. And sometimes you even hear conservatives that I think mistakenly, but sort of begrudgingly, give the left-wing activists a little bit of credit. They're like, well, at least I don't agree with them, but they're really putting their money where their mouth is. But they're actually not, because here's the unspoken thing with all of these left-wing activists embracing their martyrdom by going to jail. They're always doing it with the implicit understanding that, number one, they might not even get arrested at all in the first place. But if they do, nothing's really going to happen to them. In their minds, they're not actually risking. Maybe they go to jail. Maybe they spend a night in jail at most, probably not even that long. And then they get to go and they get the photo op of them getting arrested. They get to go talk. They get to go brag about it. And that's what it is. That's what the martyrdom is for them. Now, if you made it clear that, oh yeah, we're going to arrest you and we're going to actually put you in prison. So go ahead, tough guy. Go ahead. I'm willing to go to jail. Okay, but you're really going to go. This is not a photo op where we march you down and you spend 2 hours in a jail cell before you get bailed out and you never see the inside of a jail cell again. We're going to actually prosecute you. We're going to try to put you in prison for real, like years. Then we'll see. We'll see how tough you are then. And that goes for this mayor. It goes for the eco-terrorists. It goes any of them. Now, I guarantee once you start doing that, you're not going to find nearly as many left-wing activists. Antifa, another example. All of this, it's all theater to them. Because it's always with the implicit understanding that they're not actually going to suffer any real significant legal consequences. Once you start imposing real significant legal consequences, I think almost all of them back away. Because they're like, oh, wait a minute, I don't want to do this. Mayor, the mayor of Denver, he doesn't want to actually go to jail for, even if you put him in jail for 6 months, he doesn't want to do that. 6 months? Hell no. 6 hours at most. So that has to be the follow-up, and I think Tom Homan would do that. Of course, he can't do that all on his own. The prosecuting part of it would have to be, you need the Justice Department for that, but that's what's going to have to be necessary. If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going to dailywire.com or by going to the Matt Walsh Show Twitter page. Hope to see you there. Godspeed.